Well, off the back of our draw to start the season here today with Jahn Regensburg, then I went on to play group for Fürth and try out our 4-4-2, and I did sign an extra deep lying forward going into that game. The 4-4-2 lasted 25 minutes before I realised it's an absolute pile of junk. Thankfully, came back to draw that game, but let's pull one out for the 4-4-2. It's officially dead. Do feel a bit sorry for those two deep lying forwards now though. Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 46 of Rookie to Royalty here on Shaun Does FM with Jahn Regensburg. I hope you're doing well, and come up today we take on Mainz at home in the two Bundesliga, expect to be one of the best teams in this division this season, and off the back of transfer deadline day and a trip to take on Wiesbaden who have come up from the Free Liga. Then we'll take on Fortuna Düsseldorf, that one also at home. So if you guys are looking forward to those two games coming up in today's episode. But this comes off the back of our first episode of the new season, which was yesterday. So if you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. In the end, we did okay with a 4-3-3, picking up a 1-1 draw away against one of the better teams in this division, at least in terms of the season preview, in Hanover. Off the back of that, honestly, then things went a bit bad. Obviously, the bloke we brought in as a deep lying forward initially on a free from the Mainz second team got injured off the back of that first game, despite the fact he didn't play with that 4-3-3 we used. But we did sign a replacement as well as those other players who we were in the process of bringing to the club. So a bit first of a transfer recap, because a little bit's happened off the back of yesterday's episode. First up, we did indeed sign both Sousa as well as Pavasic Sousa, that left back that we were trying to bring in as a backup to Tim Hamburger at the time. Did look a little bit better than someone like Brian Hine. And also, as a bit of an extra centre-back option, we bought in Pavasic from Mainz for 950k. Just someone a little bit better than Rente, which thankfully we did, because as you'll see over on the right-hand side, he's actually left, got a bit upset with that transfer coming in of Pavasic, so he sold him in the last year of his contract at Cambur for a fee of 42k, rising to 60k. So in the end, that's actually worked out quite well. Got rid of an old player who now I wouldn't have used that much here for the rest of the season at Jahn Regensburg. So Marco Rente is no longer here, but more importantly, we bought in an extra deep lying forward off the back of that injury that was suffered from Malitzballer these days. He is fit and available, but unfortunately it did mean he missed his chance there with our 4-4-2. Coming in to be the backup to him when we do use a 4-4-2 from Stockport County was Martin Jarvis for a fee of 475k. Decent potential, not that great current ability, but considering he was supposed to be a backup in that deep lying forward role, I thought that hopefully he'd do a decent job for us. 2 goals in 3 appearances as a youngster for Stockport County, so can score goals, but did look quite handy in that deep lying forward role. So we brought him in, and thankfully he arrived in time for that Glufa Fürth game, where things went absolutely terribly early, considering these guys, season preview wise, are supposed to be finishing 15th. We went 2-0 down inside 25 minutes. Why is that button not worked there? There it is now. Let's get into this game. The 4-4-2, I've officially retired off the back of the first half hour of this game because we were absolutely useless. I don't think a 2-man midfield in the centre works too well for us here at Jahn Regensburg. So I might be able to figure out a way which is not going to be a 4-4-2 to come up with something which is 2 strikers up front if it's going to be something useful for some opposition here in the 2 Bundesliga. Thankfully, not too many so far this season here that we've encountered so far, just this group of Fürth team, but awful start there with the 4-4-2. Thankfully, once we switched to a 4-2-3-1 and made some subs, Max Meyer came off the bench and rescued a point for us. So thankfully, we don't drop points there at home to one of the worst teams in the division, but the 4-4-2 I think is officially dead. If we go back and have a look at our tactics, we've only got 2 slots filled now because we've just killed it off. So no more 4-4-2 here with Jahn Regensburg because I couldn't find a way to make it work. It was absolutely hopeless. And off the back of that, we have just stuck with the 4-2-3-1. Thankfully this season, got a nice clean draw in the first round of the FE Pokal and gained some confidence with a 5-0 win over Phoenix Lubeck. Goals there to Jay Sadie, Greenwood, Pal Fernandez from the spot, Pavasic, Castillo and Marco Lente in the second half. So certainly looking a lot better there with the 4-2-3-1, especially in 2 games off the back of that. We beat Magdeburg, who of course lost in the promotion relegation game trying to make their way up to the Bundesliga at the end of last season, bet them 3-1 goals there to Lewis Walden, Ruslav, and Leighton Stewart. They grabbed one back there just before halftime, but thankfully kicked away in the second half. And then a very entertaining game when we took on Paderborn away. Just did enough there with a late Greenwood goal to pick up a 3-2 win. So thankfully, we've been picking up wins since we've switched to the 4-2-3-1 and binned off that 4-4-2. As I kind of mentioned in the intro, do feel a little bit sorry now for the guys who we did sign as deep lying forwards. Buller could be handy as a third choice advanced forward because he's actually okay in terms of his current ability. Martin Jarvis, though, might get sent down to the B team soon just because we're probably going to use him that much if we don't play two strikers up top. So definitely that might have been a waste of money for that one game and that half hour where I did use a 4-4-2, but thankfully found some form off the back of trying to use that tactic and realising it's absolutely no good. And also, there was one more transfer that did go through a bit more unexpected off the back of those couple of games that were played. Tim Hamburger has release clause triggered by Bochum, £2.9 million. So Tim Hamburger no longer here at Jahn Regensburg. A really good wing back on a tick. So that's actually a little bit of a blow for us there down that left-hand side at the back. But we did bring in a pretty decent replacement, and that was from Hertha Berlin for 4.8 million, albeit I think it was only about 2.5 up front, which we of course could afford with that fee we did get for Tim Hamburger. Uwe Dorn comes in from Hertha Berlin, a very promising 19-year-old, actually did look a little bit better than Hamburger attribute-wise, and has quite a bit of potential as well, and a heck of a lot younger. So Uwe Dorn comes in so far, has not played a single game. We are about to use him in this first one of today's episode, but a few transfers and some good results off the back of that shocker with the 4-4-2 off the back of yesterday's episode. It does mean if we have a look at the two Bundesliga table, we've charged up to 5th off the back of a not great start. To be fair, so far, I was saying we should be able to carry some momentum over from the end of last season. It's the exact same picture as we had from our first 4 games last year. So it's actually not been the case so far, but fingers crossed now we can kick on a little bit more than we did last season and try and push our way up into that top 3 at the very least, and hopefully one of those top 2 spots. But it's going to be pretty tough for us first up here in today's episode. We take on Mainz. They've picked up 4 wins from their 4 games so far, so this will be quite difficult, especially away from home with Stefan Baumgart with his wonderful cheese cutter hat there in charge, and they also do like a 4-2-3-1. Also worth noting, you may be surprised that we did use a 4-2-3-1 against Magdeburg. Apparently that's what suits them this season. Definitely late last season, our assistant manager told us it was a 4-4-2, so maybe the game doesn't quite know about these teams too much yet. So I think for the moment, we'll just stick with one of the 4-2-3-1 or the 4-3-3, depending on our opposition. But so far, the 4-2-3-1's working, so we'll stick with that unless there's a team that might be better suited to the 4-3-3, because to be fair, it didn't do too badly in that Hanover game, despite the poor start that we did get off to. But hopefully here can make it 4 wins in a row and 3 in the 2 Bundesliga as we take on this Mainz team. But obviously, they've been perfect so far, including a 3-0 win in the first round of the DFB Pokal. Also worth noting, we've got the draw through for the second round of the DFB Pokal. We've got Bayern Munich again, and it's at the Jahn Stadion Regensburg again. So unfortunately going to get knocked out early, I'd say, in the DFB Pokal for a second season in a row by Bayern Munich. Fingers crossed next year we might get them a little later on. But Mainz first up today, thankfully, injury-wise, we've got no serious issues, and we do have our new signing coming in at left back in Uwe Dorn. He's not quite fully technically familiar with how we do things yet as that wing back on attack, but to be fair, it's pretty good for a player coming into a new club. So we'll see what he can do here in this first game in today's episode. But apart from that, we're looking pretty good with this 4-2-3-1. And the only player of late who I've got a little bit of an issue with, Matthew Stollery. He's not been doing too great at left wing. We'll see how he goes in this first game today. If he doesn't improve, then maybe Max Meyer might sneak his way back into the first team, like would have been the case if we didn't sign Stollery to come in for the start of the season. So Max Meyer currently not on the bench because Greenwood can do a job on both wings, and Beloso can actually cover right wing. So I don't think we need Meyer on the bench currently. Greenwood should be a better player, but Stollery might be in danger of dropping out of the first team if he doesn't perform here. And to be fair, a tricky game to try and sort things out as we take on the only team with a perfect record so far here in the 2 Bundesliga. To be fair, we are also yet to lose Just a little bit frustrating again that we're dropping these points early, but to be fair, I can cop the first one with that 4-3-3 against a good Hanover team away from home, and also then we tried that 4-4-2, which clearly was a mistake as you saw before. It's been completely binned off. Maybe if we need to try a 2-striker formation from now on, we try a 5-3-2, because I do think the issue wasn't necessarily that our strikers wouldn't link up too well. We just need a 3-man midfield. Without that, we really look to struggle here with this Jahn Regensburg team, but it's our best 11 going into this first game of today's episode, as you'd expect against a very good Mainz team that we take on. It does mean Hubner comes back in for Carstens. That's another change we've made over the course of those first couple of games of the season. Hubner does look to be in a better patch of form, so we've chucked him in there alongside Ryzen at the back, and obviously our new signing comes in there at left back for the departing Hamburger. Fingers crossed he can hit the ground running. If we pick up a win here, we might even sneak ourselves a little bit closer to one of those promotion slots, even if it is just for the promotion relegation game. So I'm kind of hopeful here we can get on the front foot early this season and get up that table, keep ourselves in the top half, get there a lot earlier than last season, where we left things far too late. But the first highlight here is a corner going far post there for Ruslan. Unfortunately though, his header does just go over the bar. As you've seen, he's scored a couple of goals so far this season, and they have been from set pieces. He is quite handy in that situation. Unfortunately, that time just couldn't get on target, but a foot in there, I think that was in Stollery. Thankfully, our new signing in Dawn does get on the ball, squares that one nicely for Aaron Ramsey. What a start for our new man there in Uwe Dorm, who have brought in from Hertha Berlin. Aaron Ramsey picks up his first goal this season. We're 1-0 up, bang on the 15-minute mark, so thankfully, early signs are this replacement for Hamburger, who I'm pretty sure now is the record transfer here at Jahn Regensburg, has surpassed Leighton Stewart, who, to be fair, not too awful so far this season, but also not too great. But there he does some quite good track back work, and hopefully might get a chance here to make it 2-0, but Ramsey can't quite keep that one down. But Dorm comes in and assists really with his first touch of the ball on debut, so he's looking like he might be quite a good signing, especially at only 19 years old. But so far, we're on the ball here in this game and looking quite good with this 4-2-3-1. Maybe this is just the formation that suits us. We should stick to it as much as possible, but trying to make our way forward here down this right-hand side. That's loose touch there, though, from Walden, and Kraus starts to make his way forward. Nordin plays that one forward there to their striker, and thankfully Lukic there comes up with a save. Was hoping he might be offside, but he wasn't. You'll see there the table. For the moment, we do sneak our way up to second. They get a chance there, thankfully. That one just on the wrong side of the woodworks, and mine's there. Decent chance to make things 1-1, but now we go down the other end. Hopefully can grab a cushion goal here just before halfway through the first half. A good chance there for Bullock, who's a mountain of a man in defensive midfield, but unfortunately that one comes off the woodworks. Definitely getting chances here from set piece as well as from open play. Unfortunately, just not quite taking them so far, as Bullock now picks up a yellow card, so he'll probably come off at half time, but we're looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Up until then, Aaron Ramsey, our goal scorer, is forced from the field. Fingers crossed that won't be too serious. I think we'll leave Bullock out there until half-time, but Charlie Allen can come on there in the central attacking midfield role. Of course, Elvis, from our youth intake, is now old enough to be able to play senior football, so maybe he might get some game time if Allen does drop down to a heavy workload. Walden there with a decent chance. The deflection actually, I thought, might take that one past their goalkeeper and Zentner. Unfortunately, it does not. Good work there from their goalkeeper, and now they get in behind from his kick forward, but thankfully that one goes just over the bar. We can still praise as we cling on to our 1-0 lead before halftime, but really getting some good chances here to try and make it 2-0. Unfortunately, just haven't got the job done so far. Bullock now is on the ball. That pass a little bit off the mark, but thankfully our new right back there, and Ostojic, can get that one back, and Bullock will pick out here Weldon down our right-hand side, puts it in there for Charlie Allen, who unfortunately, just like Ramsey, can't hit the target from a little bit of a long range out. So unfortunately, still 1-0. Really should be 2-0 with all these chances that we're getting. And a free kick here just before half-time to Mainz. Klaus a tackle there, but they get the ball back. Nordin loses it. It goes back in there to Kraus, and Nordin gets it back. I'm pretty sure that's taken a wicked deflection off of Hubner, and they level things just before half-time. So unfortunately, all those chances that we've wasted, they prove costly in Mainz, make this one all a little bit unfortunate because really there was some quite good defensive work done there with a touch on it as we tried to win that ball back, but unfortunately a deflection from that shot from Nordin and they make it 1-1. So as I said before, those chances that we had to make it 2-0, not taking them does prove costly. We'll make that change there in ball wing midfield. Garcia can come on for Bullish doing quite well, but that yellow card with that role in particular is a bit concerning. It's not one we can get a player to ease off tackles, so definitely need to make a sub in that situation. But hopefully now Mainz won't find a way to hand us our first defeat of the season. It's now been a fair while since we've suffered defeat here with this Jahn Regensburg team. A poor pass there though, and Stewart hopefully can make the most of it. Tight angle though, and Zetner comes up with a good save. So unfortunately, we're getting some good chances, but a mix of our poor finishing and the goalkeeper having a blinder does mean this one still locked up at 1-1. Now Stolly tries to make his way forward down that right-hand side. The tackle on him does take that ball out. He is on a 6.4, so maybe need to change that going into our next game and just see if Myra at left winger might be a bit of a difference maker, because now we make our way up to the hour mark and Greenwood can come on for him at left wing. That might be it for a little while for Stollery in that first choice lineup. So unfortunately, one of our new signings not quite hitting the ground running here at Jahn Regensburg. To be fair, the rest of them, though, are doing a good job, in particular in this game. Dawn, who got that assist for us, but unfortunately since then, we've created chances, but not quite taken them. Hopefully now can actually put one away here as Dawn is back on the ball. Some good speed there as he makes his way on the edge of the box. It goes through there looking for Walden, and Leighton Stewart can tap that one home. 2 assists on debut here for Uwe Dawn, who's looking like a very good signing. We paid about twice as much for him as Leighton Stewart once it eventually gets added up over the course of installments, and he's already looking like a much better player because he's having some quite big impacts here on our goals in this game. Leighton Stewart, a simple tap-in, but I think that's now about a quarter of the way towards the goal contributions that Leighton Stewart's had, and he's a left-back, so Dawn's looking like our best signing so far here at Jahn Regensburg. Leighton Stewart hopefully will actually start to hit some form pretty soon because he's been pretty average so far, but now Mainz here are on the attack. Dem gets that ball back, tries to curve that one top left corner. Thankfully, that one does go high and wide. About to make our way to the final 10 minutes of this game. So with this 1-goal lead, a good time for us here to start time wasting a little bit and also take that tempo down to slightly lower. Of course, that's the tempo that we did use with the original Buxton base. Just had to try and up it here at Jahn Regensburg to make this tactic work again, because of course we did try this Buxton base last season. It wasn't too good. We dropped points like we were with all our other tactics. So that slightly higher tempo does seem to be working. A couple of subs here with our final stoppage. We'll bring on Sousa at left back for Dawn, who's having a great debut. Also actually put him on support instead of attack. And Veloso at right winger instead of Lewis Walden, because that looks like the other smart move here, as now we go forward, make our way into the final 5 minutes. Time for us here to up this time wasting even more, and fingers crossed that'll mean no chances for Mainz late on in this game. But unfortunately, they've got a free kick right off the back of that change to be time wasting a little bit more, and they keep the ball well here, try and get something going down the right-hand side. Nordin, the goal scorer from the first half. Nice pass out there to Ramos, who'll try and square this one. Thankfully, Sousa can clear that one, but they are back on the ball, albeit good work there from Garcia, who wins that ball back for us. I'm pretty sure that it's not deliberate from Kraus, but thankfully that highlight, it's not a chance for Mainz. It's a red card, so surely that puts paid to any chance they had of making this 2-2. Now we've got a corner down the other end. Ruslan with another great chance, but that one comes off the woodwork, so unfortunately can't quite put these guys away. We've now got 5 minutes of added time, and a late highlight Lukic here will pass this out. Not the greatest pass, but thankfully Ruslan does win the race to it. Veloso plays it forward to Allen, up to Stewart High. I think there might be offside, and the referee's put his flag up there on the far side. So I dare say this one will get ruled out. Leighton Stewart can't pick up a double. So unfortunately, it's still 2-1, but surely that's going to be the last highlight that we do see in this game. Indeed, that run just a bit too soon, but looks like here with this man advantage, we might cut them open late if we need to. But thankfully, that wasn't too much of an impact on this game. That bad tackle late on there which was a bit unlucky to be fair on Garcia from Klaus. But before then, we looked pretty good with the 4-2-3-1. Wasted a lot of chances. That's a game that we should have won a bit more comfortably, but thankfully, thanks to the goals to Ramsey in the first half and then to Leighton Stewart in the second, both assisted by our new signing in Uwe Dawn, we picked up a 2-1 win over Mainz. That's their first drop points of the season, and for now it means that we go all the way up into second on that 2 Bundesliga table. Fingers crossed we can keep ourselves there when I take on Wiesbaden off camera before we come back off the back of a deadline day, which I imagine should be pretty quiet off the back of the business that we've already done, and we take on Fortuna Düsseldorf. And we are back. So first up, here are the highlights here from this Wiesbaden game. I was quite confident seeing this was a team that got promoted from the Free League last season. I shouldn't have been, because we got off here to an awful start with our 4-2-3-1 conceded goal there early, and just before halftime they make it 2-0. Lots of changes at halftime, and Manrik stepped up big for us here in the second half. First from the spot, and then with a free kick. We had 25 minutes left there to try and grab a winner. Unfortunately, couldn't get it done. So to be fair there, got to be quite thankful that we've picked up a point, but that definitely our most disappointing display so far since we've gone with the 4-2-3-1 off the back of that group of Fürth game. You'll see that the analysis, we were really good off the back of halftime, just not too sure what was going on there in the first half. And again, we did start Stollery. He was absolutely woeful, so he definitely is getting dropped for this next game. But you'll see it there, just not the best performance for us in that game, but thankfully we came away with something. But it does mean we've dropped down the table a little bit. Would have been a great chance for us there to actually make our way into that 4th or 3rd spot if we picked up a win, as we should have done against the team from Free League last season. But instead, we're down in 5th. But to be fair, if we can win this next game, we will go up to 3rd, that promotion relegation game with the 3rd worst team in the Bundesliga. If we can get the better of Fortuna Düsseldorf, and would actually jump above Mainz, who we of course bet first up there in today's episode. So hopefully that's what's going to happen here in this game, and also on transfer deadline day, nothing happens. Now we can move forward here and preview Fortuna Düsseldorf, who are below us on the table, and recently their form actually not that great, albeit I say that. A 2-2 draw with group of Fürth, that might not be too bad. That's the same result we got before then, though. They got beaten by Hanover. We got a draw against those guys, and their form before then was okay. A draw with Kaiserslautern and a win over Dynamo Dresden off the back of a win in the first round of the DFB Pokal. So these guys are mixing their form a little bit more than we are, but not too much more, because obviously they're only 3 points behind us. So fingers crossed here we can pick up a win, even though this one could be tricky away from home against the team expected to finish in 7th. Now, unfortunately, we got that injury in that first game of today's episode. Aaron Ramsey out with a hamstring strain. That is for 5 to 10 days. So unfortunately, he'll be out for our next couple of games as well as this one. So it does mean that Charlie Allen comes in that central attacking midfield role, albeit this time we are going to go with the 4-3-3, because if you look at the data hub and the analyst report on our next opponent, that is the formation that should suit. And as I said, I don't think we actually look too bad off the back of that poor start with this formation yesterday. So this is the other formation that I feel pretty comfortable with using here alongside our 4-2-3-1. So it does mean Allen, he comes in there in that AP role. Haven't quite caught up Elvis yet from our under-19s, because we do have players like Max Meyer who can cover that position, albeit he does come in for Stollery, who drops down to the bench with that 6.4 average rating. I think that's his last 5 games. All of those, though, since he's come here to the club. So he's had a really rough start here. Here's the former Aston Villa man. Fingers crossed that Max Meyer can do a little bit better, but apart from that, it's the same team we put out for that win over Mainz. Fingers crossed there, we can get the job done, even with a slight switch here to a 4-3-3, which I probably should have put through a little bit sooner. You can see there, Manrik and Bilic, not too familiar. Bilic should be. All we've done is move him back from central midfield to defensive midfield. Manrik is the only one actually with a change in role in that box-to-box midfield, but off the back of him rescuing us a point there when we took on Wiesbaden. Fingers crossed him getting further forward won't hurt us at all. So I'm hopeful here the 4-3-3 works, as this one is yet again at home as we take on a team who really should be a little bit worse than that Mainz one we took on and picked up a 2-1 win against. Obviously, late red card help, but to be fair, there wasn't much action off the back of that. So as I mentioned, that one change in terms of selection with Meyer coming in left wing, and obviously Allen with that injury to Aaron Ramsey. Apart from that, the same team. Let's hope that players like Dawn can back up that really good debut with another good performance here in front of our home fans. That's certainly one of the better debuts I've seen so far here in the save for a player that we've paid money for. Obviously at Buxton, we were able to do transfers pretty much whenever we wanted down in the National League, went on a free, and also in League 2, it wasn't too restrictive. Here in the 2 Bundesliga, you'd go actually do your business in a transfer window, but that was a really good debut there from our new left back, the 19-year-old. We bought him from Hertha Berlin. Let's hope he continues that, and we won't miss Hamburger too much, because really, that wing-back on attack role was kind of built for him. So fingers crossed there that he continues his good form there from that debut. Was a little bit more quiet in that second game, but thankfully we just did enough there with some subs at halftime to turn that round and pick up a point. Thankfully today we've got off to a much hotter start here. A corner, Ruslan flicks it on, and Racine Bullock's there at the far post to hit it home to the taller players here in the Jahn Regensburg team link up and make it 1-0. So thankfully no slow start here in front of our home fans. Some good work there from that set piece. To be fair, not too sure if that's how it was supposed to go, but Bullock, right place, right time, can head that one home and make it 1-0. So fingers crossed here, we can get back on track and pick up 3 points. As I said, those drop points at Wiesbaden, quite disappointing, especially with that 4-2-3 one, but looks like our 4-3-3 also cooks a bit. Would be really nice if we could get a tactic that works with 2 strikers, as I mentioned earlier. Maybe something like a 5-3-2 might work instead of a 4-4-2, that extra bodies there, and your good chance again there from a set piece, but unfortunately it goes over the bar. So maybe next time we take on a team that we should play a 4-4-2 against, we try something like a 5-3-2, albeit it does mean no left winger, which to be fair might not be too bad the way our left wingers going so far this season. Max Meyer not doing too badly, but Stollery a bit disappointing, but also no right winger, which might be interesting for Lewis Walden, who can be quite good. He did struggle last season when playing as a deep lying forward, but that might just be because the 4-4-2 was absolute garbage below. So he will bring on for Leighton Stewart, orange injury there late on in that first half. So hopefully that's not too serious, but pretty quiet half there. All the chances in our favour from set pieces, and thankfully we took the first one through Racine Bullock and made it 1-0. Stats-wise though, this game is quite even, so hopefully can find a way here to grab a cushion goal. It might be a chance for us here again from set piece, looking for Ruslan near post. Unfortunately, can't quite find him. But now Allen plays that for their right back, who picks out Walden, who gets clattered. That should be a clear-cut penalty. So hopefully a chance here for Manrique to make it 2-0. But for some reason, VAR has given that no penalty. Not too sure how. That looked like a pretty clear-cut foul, but unfortunately it hasn't been given. Let's hope that doesn't prove costly. Now Bullock, he drops down to red hole, and also Dawn not going too well today. So Sousa can come on at left back, and Garcia in that ball wing midfielder will play things safe there with that sub. Hopefully make sure no big injuries coming out of this game, but continue to hold on to our 1-0 lead. It's going quite similarly to that Mainz game, despite the fact we have switched to the 4-3-3 from the 4-2-3-1 to try and suit here the weakness of our opposition. Just can't quite put the foot down and put these guys away. About to make our way to the final 15 minutes of this game. Max Meyer going a bit fairly on a 6.5. So fingers crossed his Stollery off the bench might be a bit better than when he starts. Also, we'll take off here Ostojic at right back on a 6.6 for Paul Fernandez with our final subs. So let's see if those might help us here grab a cushion goal. Now we go down the wrong end though, and it is Düsseldorf here who are on the attack. They try and play a ball there into the mixer, but thankfully Lukic can claim that one at the near post. And let's see what we can do here, hopefully on the counter attack. He throws that one out there to Hubner, who's able to just get it, plays it forward here to Stollery, and now he gets it back here, trying to make our way forward. Picks out Manrique, who can curve that one into the bottom right corner, and fingers crossed Stollery might have actually done something to help us score a goal. Indeed he has. So thankfully Stollery, we might have kicked into gear here with that dropping for this game. Gets that ball back there from Garcia. A nice run here from Manrique as that box-to-box midfielder. He has been really important in these last couple of games that we've played, those big goals from set pieces when we took on Wiesbaden, and now he grabs a cushion goal here to make it 2-0 when we take on Fortuna Düsseldorf. So thankfully, that should be all she wrote for this game, albeit now we go down the other end here for a throw-in to Düsseldorf long range here for that one from Dennis Dressel, who catches out Lukic and puts that one away. Absolutely wonder strike there from their idea, say midfielder. Off the back of there, we might put here our wing backs onto fullbacks on support as we start to time waste a little bit. Wasn't too worried before that goal did happen, but now I am because that is an absolute screamer, and we continue. Just be a little bit leaky here with our formations with this Buxton base at Jahn Regensburg, but to be fair, that is an absolute wonder strike. When we do concede, it feels a bit unlucky, either wonder strikes or goals that take big deflections, but unfortunately, they're right back in this game off the back of me hoping we'd cool it off there with that Manreek goal. They make it 2-1, now about to make our way to the final 5 minutes. Let's start to time waste even more, and hopefully that might do it for the highlights in this game. Can pick up 3 points and keep ourselves firmly in a battle to try and gain promotion up to the Bundesliga for next season. A late highlight though, Sousa plays that one in there to Manreek. Stollery will pick him out again. Nice square there for Veloso, who is in an absolute shocker there with that first time finish time. Unfortunately, can't put it away, and now there's going to be 6 minutes of added time. We'll praise. Unfortunately, still a free kick here to Düsseldorf, but thankfully Lukic there comes up with a save. Before this corner goes through, we might lower down our tempo and our passing even more to hopefully cut off what we're about to see. It doesn't work a corner here, which Apple will put near post. Thankfully, we deal with the danger. Let's see if the highlight continues. They do hold the ball here. Hoffman gets it back, but thankfully the highlight stops as the goalkeeper's trying to charge back there inside the box, and thankfully we pick up a 2-1 win. Pretty narrow wins there in both games in today's episode, but just doing enough there to get the job done with both the 4-2-3-1 and the 4-3-3 at home. So it does look like those two formations are doing a decent job. There's probably a bit of room for improvement, but still got some players here who are quite new. Once they learn how we do things fully here at Jahn Regensburg, I'd like to think we can continue some pretty good form here with these tactics, but so far we yet to suffer defeat, and for now that sees us move into that promotion relegation spot game, try and make our way up to the Bundesliga as we pick up a 2-1 win over Fortuna Düsseldorf. So a couple of good results for us there at home during the course of today's episode. A little bit frustrated by that draw away at Wiesbaden, but thankfully got something out of that game considering that we were 2-0 down at half-time. Leighton Stewart with an injury, thankfully it's not too serious. He'll be back in time when we take on Werder Bremen, and that actually will probably come back for at the start of tomorrow's episode, because coming up soon we've got some games against teams who got relegated from the Bundesliga last season. But I think that will do it for today's episode. Some good results for the most part, and we move up to third. To be fair, even if we beat Wiesbaden, would still be in third with those extra 2 points that we would have picked up. So far, we're doing pretty well, a lot better than we did this time last season, because we're finally picking up some more wins than draws. But if you enjoyed that episode as well as those transfers that we've made good debut there from Uwe Dorm when we took on Mainz, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. We'll come back tomorrow, as I said, in the not too distant future. First up, we'll take on Werder Bremen, actually struggling a little bit down in 12th, but they got relegated from the Bundesliga last season, expected to be the best team in this division, so a little bit unsure why they're doing so poorly. We'll see if we can pick up a result there away from home before we come back off the back of taking on Eintracht Braunschweig at home. Hopefully that's one that we can win. Then we'll take on Heidenheim. Those guys doing a lot better up in second, and also came down from the Bundesliga last season. They look like the real deal, so that might be an interesting one to come back for in tomorrow's episode. 2 tricky games away from home against teams that last year were in the Bundesliga. So until then, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.